All the other pleasures of life seem to wear out, but the pleasure of helping others in distress never does. These are the words of Julius Rosenwald, a man that few people know these days, but a name and a man we should never forget. If you are wondering why he is important, not only to me as the child of a Jewish father, but to many others who are being raised to never pass up the opportunity to help a person in need and to never be a bystander during injustices, then I will tell you his story. A story that needs to be told. Rosenwald lived by the rules of the Jewish tradition of righteous action. You work on repairing the world, and he began his work with a community that had been the most neglected in our country. Not the Jewish community, but rather the African American community. This is the story of an American philanthropist and civil rights leader who changed the course of education of thousands of children in the South, with the simple idea that what really matters in this world is not what we have, but what we do to help others through our accomplishments. Julius was the child of German Jewish immigrants. He was born on August 12, 1862, in Springfield, Illinois. His parents were in the garment industry, and Julius and his brother would soon follow in their footsteps. Julius did not complete high school because he wanted to start his own business. His company made ready-made suits, and while he was not making a lot of money, he was an ambitious young man. His luck changed in 1895 when he became a partner at Sears Roebuck Company. Julius had an excellent relationship with Richard Sears, who, while a savvy businessman, he was disorganized. It was here where Julius Rosenwald would use his creative genius to create the Amazon of the 1800s. Rosenwald catered to rural communities that could not make the trip to the big cities to shop. He brought in diversity of products, and all were made available through a catalog, what we would call the old internet. Rosenwald's brilliant idea brought Sears Roebuck Company from a $750,000 per year company to an astounding $50 million per year company. While there were times when Sears struggled financially, particularly after World War I, Julius used $21 million of his own money to save the company. Julius became a millionaire, and he saw that his life needed to start to make a difference for those that society had abandoned. Julius believed that it was time to give back, and give back he did. One important thing to remember about Julius is that he did not believe in perpetual giving. When he found a cause he wanted to support, he demanded that others also contribute. This gave those receiving the funds of ownership of their destiny. Julius had a lot of rich friends, one of them being Goldman Sachs senior partner Paul J. Sachs. Julius and Paul became interested in the social conditions of the African American community. Not only was money important in order to improve the lives of African Americans, but also it was important to have advocates and civil rights leaders that shared their social justice agenda. Two great Americans, Booker T. Washington and William H. Baldwin, became friends with Rosenwald, and together they embarked on an ambitious agenda of giving. In the process, they changed the life of African American children throughout the South. In 1917, he established the Julius Rosenwald Fund, which was specifically created to improve educational opportunities for African American children. By demanding that the funds be matched by the local communities, Washington and Rosenwald were able to build 4,977 Rosenwald schools, along with 380 complementary buildings. Even today, when you look at the children who attended the Rosenwald schools, you can find people like Langston Hughes, Senator John Lewis, poet Maya Angelou, director George C. Wolfe, and writer Eugene Robinson, among many others. According to philanthropyroundtable.org, Rosenwald's generosity was grounded on a lack of ego. He was grounded and secure in himself. He was motivated to give, and in the process motivated others to give while they were still alive and see the products of their giving. His innovative way of giving products for opportunity, not dependence. For example, he devised stock sharing options for Sears employees. He donated with restrictions and demanded that those receiving his funds maximize the funds and then do something productive with their lives. He did not believe in permanent funds. His contemporaries, Rockefeller and Carnegie, had a lot more money, but Julius was pragmatic with his donations. By limiting the life of his foundations, he provided a business-like approach to philanthropy. He funded several YMCA projects for African Americans and helped fund projects for the U.S. Department of Agriculture, which aided rural Americans. Perhaps a little-known fact is that Rosenwald contributed 1/3 of that cost of litigation of Brown versus Board education, the landmark decision that ended school segregation. Rosenwald died in 1932, but his legacy still exists today. By the end of his life, he had funded universities, public schools, museums, parks, mostly for African Americans. In 2015, the documentary Rosenwald details the life of a man who is best described in C.S. Forbes in a 1916 article in this manner. The most notable thing about Julius Rosenwald is not any superhuman business ability, nor any phenomenal smartness in seeing and seizing mercantile opportunities. The greatest thing about Julius Rosenwald is not his business, but himself. Not what he has, but what he is. His character, his personality, his sincerity, his honesty, his democracy, his thoughtfulness, his charity of heart, his catholicity of sympathy, his consuming desire to help the less fortunate of his fellow creatures.